Hello, everyone. Good afternoon from Dhaka. And I think all of you are all right. And we are just running this couple of sessions from yesterday. This is our session number 15, where the title is Transformational Leadership Thinking Beyond. So before starting, I'm just trying to explain what is transformational leadership. That is a leadership theory where a leader works with teams to identify needed changes, creating a vision to guide the change through inspiration. I repeat, inspiration is very much needed here, and he executes the change in tandem with committed members of a group. It is an integral part of the full range of leadership model. So he have to the transformation leader works with the inspiration. So to get more inspiration, more inspired, we have a group of qualified people who are distinguished guests today. From in the picture you can see in the left, Mark Noseworthy. He was in our inaugural session yesterday as well and ran a session. He's the CEO of bproperty.com. And then Stephanie Ullard, she's the founder of Seven Women. And then we got Stephen Dessau. He's the founder of Salesforce Catalyst. And we got Susan Morris. She's joining us from Denver, USA. She's the director of Belly's Natural Energy Charitable Trust. And it's me here today as a moderator. So other than making any delay, I'm inviting our guest here. Hey, how are you today, everyone?
Very well, thanks.
Good, very good, very good, very good. Thank you, Rafin.
So, as our session title, Transformational Leadership, very buzzword nowadays. Everyone is actually looking to get inspired. There are not too many people you find in the community who inspired people. So you are the one who is actually a torch bearer. You are trying to change the community by your innovative idea and design and your dream. So moving to our guest, Susan Morris. Hey, just tell us who you are and what you are doing.
Good morning, Dr. Rafi. Congratulations on this massive achievement of 50 speakers and I'd say at least 15 countries on board. It's great. I'm actually the co-founder with another Belizean man called Mike Usher of Belize Natural Energy. And it was our dream, our desire to discover oil, but in a holistic, natural way, at one with life, with God. And in essence, we did it. And I would like to even go further than inspire and to give all the listeners, especially the young people of today, the actual steps to take this course within, let's just say, and be absolutely the being they were born to be. And that's where I'm coming from this morning. And thanks for the opportunity, everybody.
Thank you very much. Now moving to our second guest, who is joining from Melbourne. I think it is afternoon there. So Stephanie, how are you?
I'm fantastic, and it's awesome to be here among friends. Susan and Stephen I know very well, so it's very exciting to have us all on the same screen.
Yes.
That's really great. Moving to Mark. Mark, again, welcome again in our second day.
Thanks, Rafi.
Lots of people know about you already, and you are very popular in Bangladesh, and your business is quite popular in Bangladesh, and I can see your activity everywhere in every spaces. So what do you do from B Property, and just tell about yourself?
Sure. So yeah, I've been in Bangladesh now for about three and a half years. We started the country's first dedicated real estate marketplace that is trying to encourage transparency within real estate, as well as ensuring that everyone has access to the requirements that they need in order to make those important decisions around which places to live. How do you protect your investment? How do you make sure that you're making the right decisions for you and your family? And so it's been a very interesting ride, certainly over the last 3 or 4 years, but one that I've thoroughly enjoyed.
That's really very great. And Stephen, hey, how are you? Where are you now? And just tell us what is your activity from Salesforce?
I'm great. I'm doing great, doctor. I'm on top of the world. Well, my name is Stephen Dosu, and I'm originally from Togo, West Africa. And I'm very, very much proud to call myself an inspiration leadership university and founder of Salesforce Catalyst. So my passion and my joy every single day is to go out there and empower the youth, right? And to empower, my fellows, and being able to, give them a different way of looking at the glass. Instead of looking at the glass being half empty, looking at it as half full, right? And that's what I strive to do every single day through my writing, through my speeches, through the platforms like this, right? That's why I just want to say thank you so much, Doctor, for the opportunity. I think, moments like this are very much shared by me. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you very much. That is the part of our introduction. So we'll be digging into more with our agenda, with our topic. So moving to Susan Morris. So what? Sorry. So what do you think about just as I described something about say inspiring people? So what do you think? Why inspiration is needed, and how you are going to inspire people?
Well, I think you said it yourself at the beginning. It actually probably starts with the real meaning of to inspire is in spirit, to ignite one's spirit. And actually, I believe our spirits are all ignited, of course, but it is actually to reignite and uncover that energy. I see it as an energy coming forward and igniting the true natural resource of this planet, which is that human spirit. From then, the innovation, the creativity, the energy goes forward and allows you to connect with that path you were born to be on. And mine was started really, I suppose, in Ireland originally, but then traveled to Belize, where it's unfolding and transforming an entire country. And I'm absolutely more than delighted to share those steps today. So thank you again.
Thank you very much. Thanks for your inspiration. I am inspired as well already. So inspiration is some quality that actually works like electricity. Say it can be transferred from one to another within a short time. So moving to Stephanie Ulag, so I know that you are doing a great job from Melbourne. 7 women. Can you please share us what is that? What are the 7 women?
Sure. Well, similar to Susan and the rest here, I have always been inspired to make a difference. And so that took me to Nepal when I was 19, and I met 7 women with disabilities who were living in a tiny tin shed in poverty, in great poverty, and learnt their stories of suffering and wanted to do something to help them, because I could see huge potential in these women, as we all have incredible human potential. So that was when I had about $200 left, because I was still a student at that stage, and paid for 2 trainers to come and train them in skills to develop their ability to make money, I suppose, and become free and have financial independence. So that has grown now into 4 different businesses in Nepal, and it's educated, trained, and employed over 5,500 women. Nearly the last forum means taking inspired action, empowering others to really know the human potential inside all of us, as Susan was mentioning, and to really draw out that spirit and take that inspired action when ideas come to us.
Wow, that's really inspiring story. Okay, so moving to Mark, say, what do you think about inspiration? Why we should inspire other people?
I think, Rafi, just a bit of an echo coming from someone. Inspiration, I think, is important because without inspiration, it's very, very difficult to ultimately get things done. Right? Whether that's in a personal perspective. I don't know. Maybe it's just. I think yesterday everyone else went on mute. I don't know if that will just solve the. Yeah, there you go.
That's great.
I think yeah. Everyone needs inspiration. Whether it's from a personal perspective, a business perspective. That's what was said earlier. That's the buzz that everyone gets that helps them get up in the morning to go and achieve things, to get moving. And without that inspiration, life can be somewhat, boring and mundane. And I do personally believe that we're on this planet in order to not just survive, but ultimately to thrive. And for that, you need inspiration. I think when we talk about inspirational leadership or some of those, let's say, buzzwords, I think sometimes it can get blown up into actually a really big thing. At the end of the day, anyone can be an inspiration to someone. You don't have to be a CEO of a business. You don't have to be, an entrepreneur. You don't have to be at the, upper levels of society. You just have to be someone who, in my opinion, is authentic. And authenticity is making the most out of everything that you have as a human being, and making sure that you're true to yourself and you're true to what it is that you want to, achieve in life and become. That's really where the fruits of inspiration come from. And I get inspired both from obviously senior leaders in different parts of the countries, but also from, lower or people from lower levels of society who make such an effort in order to achieve certain things for themselves, right? I've had staff that would travel 2.5 hours from south of Dhaka, whether it's from Narangonj or even north up into, say, Ghazipur and they're spending 2.5 hours in the morning to get to office on time. They beat the guys that are coming from, Bonani or Gushan or Bushundara, for example, and they're there, they're committed. I know that they're tired. They'll work a very good shift, and then they'll go home and they'll do that day after day after day, and you can rely on these guys. And for me, that is inspiration. Right? That's where I get my inspiration from, is actually those people doing everything that they possibly can out of all of the tools that they have available to them at that point in time. And that for me is inspirational leadership. So I think the point I wanted to make is more that you don't have to be someone that is a CEO or running your own business in order to be an inspiration to someone. It's just being authentic to the tools that you have available to you and applying them as best as you can. And, you never know what's going to happen if you do that, right? And I think that's the exciting aspect of life.
That's really amazing definition of inspiration. I just learned a lot. Then moving to Stephen, say, what do you think about inspiration? How you already tell that you inspire people that to actually transform or change their life, that other than half glass empty, you are just trying to focus on trying to be positive. Say, in inspiration, I think being a positive man is very much needed. Only positive people can inspire people, and negative people, they try to inspire, but actually that doesn't work. So I think all of our positive minded people. So how you inspire people? Stephen, over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Doctor. I think, first of all, understanding, inspiration for me will be key. So I've learned to define inspiration as a mental stimulus, which drives one to be able to think creatively and differently, right? So the one that is well and fully inspired then aspires to do something more, and through the aspiration, the person takes a set of decisions and then materialize those decisions through a set of actions. And I think Stephanie Woolard, for instance, will be a practical living example for that. And how I inspire people. So inspiration sometimes, like Mark said it earlier on, inspiration sometimes can be voluntary or not. So in other words, just the life that you live on a daily basis can inspire someone, or you can actually speak to someone to inspire that person, right? So I think first of all, when we want to talk about inspiration, we've got to see what kind of life do we live on a daily basis. What is our mindset? What is our attitude, right? How do we tackle the challenges that are in front of us? Are we the kind of person, are we the kind of people that when we face a challenge, we just want to drop the towel? Or we are the kind of people that when we come across a challenge, we want to take it on and transform a piece of stone into bread and conquer the mountain, like somebody will say, right? So I think starting from living a life, like you said, full of positivity, starting from living a life in which you believe that everything is possible, starting to live a life in which you want to, create circumstances where there are not, then the person that's watching you from afar or from close is inspired. Then we can also then move on to the next stage, of which you then want to inspire someone voluntarily. And that can happen through the things that you say to the person. That can happen through how you want the person to look at themselves in the mirror. They say, look at a person as how he is, and he will be that way. But look at him as how he could be, and he will be that. So if you see a student, for instance, today, and his desire is to be a teacher, then tell him that I see a teacher in you. And guess what? He'll be inspired to take action, right? And that has to come through a certain structure of support, of encouragement, of motivation, of coaching, right? So that the person can feel that, you know what? I've got the support. I'm looked at as how I could be. Therefore, the person will aspire to make decisions and implement actions that will enable them to be the best version of themselves.
Thanks. Wow, that's really, really, very nice words that you say. So, Stephen, say I'm just adding with you something. If I want to inspire someone, say, then I just go to them, or if I met somebody, I say, "Hey, I see something in your face, but I don't know what it is. But there is something in your face." That whole night he thinks, "Oh, what Rafi see in my face?" Then he tried to explore himself. This one sentence is very motivating to others. What Rafi saw me, I must be very special. I don't know. Then actually he start exploring himself. Then he got inspired, and then ultimately he tried to transform something. So for transformational leadership, inspiration is very much needed, we believe. Then they try to transform the community, transform the society. So nowadays in COVID time, so we in Bangladesh, Bangladesh is a developing country. We are growing, but here we actually adopted e-learning and online platform everywhere. Say our session to the summit today, it is happening via online platform as well. So every day we can see lots of people are going live. They are trying to share their insights, and ultimately they're educating people, they're inspiring people. That is very much needed. So inspiration is the root of transformation, so far we believe. So to transform the society, transform the industry, say how people can think out of the box and why it is needed. Why it is needed to think out of the box. There is a concept called rebel talent. I think there's a book as well, Rebel Talent. That book is written by Harvard University's professor, Francisca Gina. So I was in one of her summit. And she said that in every office, you can find lots of staffs are really not happy with the current rules of the office. So they try to upgrade. They are called on intrapreneur, or they actually sometimes they don't follow that rules. They try to change, bring changes. But like Mark is very, I think, acceptable to everyone. If the top management is not so supportive, in that case, the younger kids, the younger employee, he cannot actually express his idea. So in that case, these people are called rebel talent, according to the textbook. So every office you can see that. So how and why we should think beyond to transform something. Going back to Susan, think out of the box. You
At all. The box is only in our minds, and it's not real. It's the limits, and a number of people have touched on this: the mental capacity, the attitude, as Stephen said, etc. It's our understanding the mechanism behind our mental capacity, so that we can actually clear our mind, clear the decks, and be that light beam we were born to be. And it happens in a number of ways, by, of course, encouragement and belief, like you said, Dr. Rafi. And I think Stephen said, somebody said, I see a teacher in you. And then that program went on to the unconscious, and the person rose up to be that. But even more important than that imprinting is understanding how this amazing vehicle of ourselves, our true nature, as Mark said, our authentic self, actually works. And once you know the mechanism, you realize that we actually are an amazing sports car, but we haven't got out of first gear yet. So what we want to do is realize there are no boxes, understand our attitude, and take the steps. And that's how Stephanie and I got to know each other. We went to an amazing seminar called Educo, which is about that access to your full capacity and understanding the mechanism behind inspiring, behind our mental capacity. So that, for instance, the company that I co-founded is has been the number one revenue generator in Belize. And yet one of my favorite people was our head of the janitor, a little small girl, Mayan girl, Indian girl, who went along to the same course, and she came back, wow, not just inspired, but fired up to go lead her whole team, because we were having a whole delegation from the United Arab Emirates, and she realized that they were the first viewing of our whole company, Belize Natural Energy. They shone up every single door handle, and they took responsibility for that being the first view of the company. But she also went to her family and empowered them to see be a whole chocolate plantation. So there's no limits. And I love what's happening today, guys.
Thanks very much, Susan. It's actually thinking, and every human being is born with lots of capabilities. We are just a click away. We never explored ourselves, that what I can do, what Susan can do, what Stephanie can do. So somebody explode. That is, you guys explode yourself. Lots of people are so demotivated. They never try to explore themselves. What can I do for the community, for the society? So that inspiration, then positivity, then motivation, and thinking out of the box is very much needed. Think out of the box. So Stephanie, going to Stephanie, why thinking out of the box is very needed? What do you think?
Thanks, Rafi. Thinking out of the box is absolutely essential, I think, for creating a new world, and entrepreneurship, I think, tries to capture that thinking outside of the box. But I think that thinking outside of the box is about aligning with your true self and taking that inspired action. We go through our lives and they excite us and they light up every cell in our body. And I think it's absolutely crucial that we take action on those ideas when they come to us, because that's our path. That's our path in life. And people talk about leaders or entrepreneurs, but everybody is a leader and everybody is an entrepreneur, because everyone has that inspiration inside. And I was so fortunate to meet Susan and to participate in the seminar that she referred to, that actually teaches you to draw out that human potential within. It teaches you how to connect with it and align with it, and to really ride on that human potential. And I think, as you mentioned before, we can first draw out our own human potential by acting on what excites us. And that's basically, how 7 Women, my charity, came to be. I met these women and I had an idea of what we could do together, and I just took immediate action, without any time for the ideas or limiting beliefs to get in the way. I immediately took action on that. And that began a charity that's now had huge ripple effects, that has, and drawn out the potential in others. I think, as you said, a lot of people think positive things about other people, but we don't often verbalize it or tell others. And I think that's absolutely critical that we do that, because that's what draws out their human potential, starting with ourselves, starting with taking that inspired action ourselves and then drawing that out of others. And, I've seen both Stephen and Susan, I don't yet know Mark, but people are drawn to them, because of their bright, vibrant energy and because of their life force. People are just totally drawn to them. And I think when we step out courageously out of the box, out into out of our comfort zones, we inspire others, and that's all we need to do, because we are the change. We are the beacons of light for other people, and they get inspired to take actions as well when they look at what we're doing in our lives.
Thank you very much, Stephanie. So that is really correct. Say, to inspire, if you're positive, then you can inspire, and that is very much needed. So moving to Mark, say, what do you think? Why we should actually think out of the box? And just over to you.
Yeah, the thing I would stress that it's important to make sure that we have some level of context when we go through these things. I'm sure none of the speakers you've had over the last couple of days, when they first started whatever they were doing, actually expected it to end up in the position that they're in. You do things because it's an idea. You might know, let's say, the first one or two steps along that journey, but none of us would ever really know, how that journey is actually going to have eventuated to the point where we are today, as well as where we are today, where we're going to be in the next, year, 5 years, 10 years. And so I always think that it's important to remain practical, right? And I think Stephanie touched on it. A lot of this is just down to taking the first step. I something stuck in my mind. It's probably been there for 20 years. And that statement is very, very simple, which is you cannot move a stationary vehicle. Right? You can't. You can turn the wheel, but you will not go anywhere. You can't change direction. You can only change direction, and you can only start to develop a deeper thought process for yourself, as well as start to work with other people when you're actually starting to move and do things. Now, that could be as simple as on a Saturday spending a couple of hours investing time in learning, or investing time in engaging and having conversations with someone to bounce a few ideas about. It could be spending some time a couple nights a week, talking about different business ideas and maybe looking at how you can get things off the ground. But it has to start somewhere, and it's through that process that actually those ideas become a lot bigger. They become sculpted into something that actually now begins to really make sense. And it's through that process that actually you start to get things moving. And so I think it's a lot of people don't actually move into the things that they really have the capacity to do, because actually they just never get going. They have the ability to do it. They have, whether it's the personality or the expertise to do it, but it's just that they never get moving, because I think people do it out of a fear of, I actually don't really know all of the things that I need to know in order to be able to put the jigsaw together. To be honest, we don't know, right? I honestly do not know. We all came into COVID 3-4 months ago. Every CEO or leader on this planet had no clue how to deal with the circumstances that they had to face, right? Because no one had gone through an instance like that. And it's wrong to think that as a leader, you have to know everything. One of the things that I've recognized as a leader is that I've actually become so aware of my inabilities to do things, as opposed to an awareness of actually my capacity to do things, or my capability to do things. And it's just getting comfortable with, okay, those inabilities, and then recognizing that, okay, you've just got to take the next step to solve a problem, to, investigate something, to have those conversations. And it's through those processes you just keep moving forwards. And that's genuinely how I think ideas get created, businesses get created, relationships get cultivated. They essentially start with someone taking an action, and it does not have to be a big action. It is really just moving forward. And for me, this is a really practical step that I think a lot of people don't. As I said, they don't engage because they think that it's too big. But when you start to break it down and you think, okay, I've only just got to go the first step, then I've got to go the next step, and then the next step, it becomes a heck of a lot easier to start to navigate. And I think if you can have that mindset, trying to become that a leader or trying to move into the potential that you have as a human being becomes a lot easier to navigate when you start to break this down into very, very just simple, small steps.
Muted.
I think you're on mute, Dr. Rafi.
So that's very nice words. That's very well explained, and regarding that inspirational terms, that is very needed. And why you should think out of the box, it is very critical. In transformational leadership, motivation is very crucial. You should be self-motivated by some leaders, and then you should think out of the box. Then you can actually transform the society. If you are following the same path than others are doing, then you cannot transform. Transform is kind of paradigm shift. Everyone is telling about the word. That whole world is actually having a paradigm shift, say before COVID, after COVID. So I say that if anyone asks me what is paradigm shift, I say, look, it is like our computer, personal computer. Our C drive has Windows or iOS. Then now it is formatted. Now we are having a fresh computer, fresh iOS, fresh Windows. So whole world is formatting itself. Our C drive is formatting itself. Then we are actually moving to a positive, new, changed world. That is my definition of, the definition of change, transformation. Moving to Stephen, why you should think out of the box?
Oh, well, Dr. Raf. So, first of all, I just want to make this statement that thinking out of the box should be a way of life. All right. So I love this quote of Jay Williams, which says that a man can alter his altitude of life by altering his attitude of mind. Right. I just want to repeat that. It's a quote that I love so much. It says that a man can alter his altitude of life by altering his attitude of mind. Right. And in my book, Be Transformed, a 10-week journey to your true self, I define transformation as the change of one's outer form from one which it was to another, which is the result of an inner change. Right. And I will define leadership in the words of Dr. Miles Monroe, which says that leadership is the capacity to influence others through inspiration, motivated by passion, generated by vision, produced by a conviction, and ignited by a purpose. Right. Let me repeat this definition one more time. There's a point I'm trying to make here. Dr. Miles Monroe defined leadership as the capacity to influence others through inspiration, motivated by passion, generated by vision, produced by conviction, and ignited by a purpose. So we take transformation. Since we're talking about transformational leadership, let's take transformation. We're saying that it's the change of the outer form, which is the result of an inner change. We say leadership is the capacity to influence people through inspiration, of which inspiration itself is the mental stimulus to do things differently, to think creatively. Right? And we said transformation is the change of the outer form, which is based on the result of the inner change. And that inner change is the change of one's thinking, the change of the mind. Right? So thinking out of the box, like I said, I believe it should be a way of life. It's as simple as being able to ask the question to yourself, how can I do things differently? Right? How can I take a program that is supposed to give a result A and make it give a result B? So being able to ask the question, how can I do this better? Right? And through that, we are then able to create a difference in the way we do things, we are then able to what? Think differently out of the box. I think thinking out of the box is everything. Is thanks to thinking out of the box. Today, Stephanie has trained over 6,000 women, right? Thanks to thinking out of the box, 10 years ago, I took the decision to leave my country, Togo, and to recreate a new life for myself, of which today I've inspired and coached over thousands of people. Thanks to thinking out of the box, Susan today is the co-founder of a petrol company. Thanks to thinking out of the box, Dr. Raf, instead of putting together 2, 3, 5 speakers, has put together 50 speakers in an amazing summit, right? And thanks to thinking out of the box, Mr. Mark has stepped into Bangladesh out of nowhere and is making things happen in real estate, right? So basically what I'm trying to say is that the essence of civilization, the essence of the development of humankind is based on the fact of us being able to think out of the box. So if you want to grow, if you want to do things differently, if you want to be a transformational leader, it is then necessary that you are able to program yourself, right, in which you find yourself thinking out of the box, even subconsciously, right? So, Dr. Rab, that's my little piece on thinking out of the box.
Thank you very much. Very, very well said. In my class, say, whenever I was actually talking about that transformational leadership, so I was telling them, hey, all of you have to think out of the box. Then my students say, Rafi, where is the box?
Well said. Well said.
I said, okay, that is box is, say, I said that, then I mentioned, say, every aircraft have a black box. So when there is crash, the investigator tried to find out where is the black box, and every information it remains in the box. So as a human being, we have a box that is box is here in the mind. So you have to think out of the box, means what someone did already, just try to enhance that and try to innovate something based on that. You cannot actually do rocket science. Somebody did that, say, across the world there is Uber. So in Bangladesh there is another form that is called, we have Uber as well, Uber Ride, and we have Patao. That is another ride sharing app, which is located in Mark's office in Dhaka, in the same building. So everyone is actually from one, they actually develop two. Based on two, they develop three. So in that way, transformation moves, and it is really needed. If we want to continue, if we want to communicate properly, we should actually have a base. Then we can actually think about what could be next. What could be next? Ultimately, in that way, we are actually moving in the journey. So at this moment, I want to show Stephanie Willard's activity based in 7 women. She made a nice video. In every show, I try to actually show that video. So just stay with me, bear with me. She tried to transform people's lives in Nepal and see what she did. That is really cool.
Raf, there's no sound. If you can hear me, there's no sound
No
of the
sound.
video. Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Still no sound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least we can read it.
Yeah, sure.
There's subtitle, so sorry, I think if you don't hear the sound.
No.
Maybe we can put the link in the under our talk. We can put the link to it so people can hear.
Yeah.
So this is the part of inspiration. See, Nepal.
Actually, these women had never held a pen before, before the literacy classes. They'd never actually held a pen, so they were super excited to learn how to even say their name, how to write their name.
Wow. Yeah, look at their smiles and laughter.
Yes, you can explain as well.
Wow. Bringing the light.
So Rafi, I might just take a minute to share a little bit about that, because Sandhya, who was just present on that clip, and I'd love to put the link under our talk, but it relates to what we've been talking about. Sandhya, it has a facial physical disability, and when I met the women in the tin shed initially, Sandhya kind of covered her mouth and hid behind one of the larger women because she was embarrassed about the way that she looked. And I saw huge potential in Sandhya. And when we asked Sandhya what she wanted to do, she was making products with the other women. And she just, I saw the potential in her, and we said, what would you like to do? And she said she had a dream to be able to read and write because she hadn't been to school in her village. And so we supported her to read and write. And now she is a manager at the centre, and she's trained through her training the local village women to go back to their villages and train women in the villages to read and write. She has directly impacted thousands of women in how to read and write. So from someone who society said was useless and wouldn't be able to contribute anything because some people believe that disabled people are bad luck to associate with, she's actually stepped out into her truth, into her passion, and she's training women in the villages. And I might add international visitors that come to our centre and want to learn basic Nepali language, the tourists when they came to Nepal. So that's what is possible. And as you were speaking about before, when you see the potential in others and when you create spaces and platforms for others, but it starts with oneself. It starts with really understanding that the box isn't real. There's no box, and that we create our reality. The world today is a reflection of the collective consciousness, of the minds of people. That is why we have the world, as we see today. If the minds of the people could change and be more positive, we would see the world transform. And that's what Susan talks about when she's talking about thinking, and Stephen and Mark. And Mark said before, no one knows the answer. Like, nobody knows everything. Nobody knows the answers. So that gives us, even that thought alone gives us the courage to step out into the unknown and follow our passion and create things. I know when I started 7 Women, I was asking a lot of people for advice because I'd never studied business and I had no idea what I was doing. I just had the passion to help these women. So I was asking a lot of these older people that had been in business for years advice because they were inspired about the change that we were making. And I realized that actually the best advice comes from within. I knew all the answers. I just had to take the action. And, I'd met the women. I knew their needs. I knew what needed to happen. And it was just about taking that inspired action. So I think, to the young people listening today, if you follow your passion, there's a fantastic quote that says, act on your highest excitement with no attachment to the outcome. Just keep taking that action that excites every cell in your body. And if our goals are greater than ourselves for the greater good, life will come in and support you 100%. That has been the story of my life. And in creating 7 Women, the goal was always greater than myself. And I have been looked after in so many ways, financially, opportunities, the people that have come into my life. So I think that's another really critical point when we're thinking about entrepreneurship. Make your goal, make your business idea one that impacts others and has a positive impact on the world in creating, the new earth that we all want to see.
Wow, that is really, really nice story that actually inspires many people as well. So to inspire and to transform, say every human being in the world, I believe every human being in the world has a candle in their hand. So someone say Susan, Stephanie, Mark, Stephen, your candle it has a light on it. Somebody has a candle, but they don't have light on it. You just need to help them to enlighten them with your light. That is the inspiration. That is the transformation. So everyone, if you know too much, if you know too many things, then you are well educated. But if you can actually share your knowledge, that will help you to transform. And I believe sharing is caring.
Yeah.
If you want to care the community, you have to share. Whatever it could be your lunch. If you share, you can eat whole lunch, but if you share that lunch to others, you feel good here, right? In the heart. You feel good if you can share your thing. Then moving to Mark, say in our country, like developing country, we need, say in real estate sector, before that it was very face to face, but you just started that 4 years before via online real estate. So I'm just showcasing you as well. Here your website is there, your bbproperty.com. So can you explain how you are transforming Bangladesh, transforming our country?
If I can tell you the first time we went to Bangladesh, which was 2016, we were so dejected that night, right? We thought that there was such a big opportunity in Bangladesh. We'd built these businesses in other countries and thought, Bangladesh, 200 million people, great opportunity. And we were so dejected because typically when we look to build these businesses, we actually build them from dealing with the real estate agents. And actually, there are no real estate agencies in Bangladesh. And, we had dinner that night and we actually thought, let's just get back on a plane tomorrow and let's just, maybe look at another country. We woke up the next morning and, to be honest, we were over breakfast and we said, we actually think this is the biggest opportunity that we actually have. Yes, it's probably a longer opportunity, but actually having that time to process that night of, what we'd seen, the conversations that we'd had, we realized that this was probably an even bigger opportunity. And we then invested in very, very practical steps, as I said, which is going and getting the content, because we have, 50, 60,000 properties on that website. All those properties have, videos, virtual tours, floor plans, etc. And you have to go and get that content. So, what we did is we walked the streets, and it took us about 18 months, and we collected information on basically every apartment that exists in maybe the top 6-7 cities in the country, to the extent now that I have a complete database of every apartment, as I said, that actually exists. And I said it maybe 10, 15 minutes ago, it's about just taking the first step. And then once that first step's taken, you then realize, actually, we can go and do this. All we've got to do is we've got to solve this problem. We've got to solve this problem. I'm sure when Stephanie was in Nepal and, was talking with those women, it was just about, I would imagine, befriending them, showing them a bit of love, and actually just through those conversations, various different opportunities would have arisen around how to fulfill those needs that those people actually have. and that's no different to what we've done through Bangladesh. What we continue to do, we're moving into helping banks actually securitize how they value home loans. How does then we get a lower middle class actually onto the property ladder for something that they've never actually had the ability to do moving forward? Historically, you then look at how do you then improve the legalization of the real estate market within Bangladesh for something that we found when we were there, 50% of all properties, for example, have a documentation problem, which actually then means that there's either fraudulent documents, there's missing documents, and how do you solve that problem? And it's, as I said, it's just a matter of you get dealt with a problem, you then have the conversations, you get people together, you talk, and then you talk some more, and you find different things that you need to solve. Stephanie touched on it. I thought it was perfect. No one really, ultimately, at the end of the day, everyone can tell you various different advice around what you need to do. You've got to be the one that actually then takes that information, processes it, and then looks to apply that in your own way. And because what works for someone else may not necessarily work for you. And that's where you've got to have a very good network of people that you can discuss various different things with. I would make sure you're still candid with those people and the amount of information that you share, but then you don't trust everything on its gospel truth, right? You actually then process that for yourself and you look to see whether that makes sense for you. And then you stay true to yourself, because the position that I'm sure none of us really want to be in is, in a couple of years' time, having doubts around, had I really done what I really wanted to do, we might have been in a different position. And that it's, that's our story. Each day we're continuing just to improve what we do. We're continuing just to improve the access to information. And trying to do the best job that we can. We make mistakes, you just solve them, and that's just how you build it. But you build this over time. And
you have to learn from every day. From mistake, you have to learn as well. Your mistake is the best teacher. It will help you to learn.
Correct.
Across the world, we always listen about successful stories. All the success stories are almost very similar. Yep. They worked hard. They worked 18 hours. At the beginning, they didn't have enough money to eat. But we should learn from failure stories as well. One of my friends is running she's running a show actually from 2011. She's from Brazil, I think. That is called Fuck Up Nights. So in Fuck Up Nights, they actually invite all the failed entrepreneurs. So in that, actually, we are trying to run that show here as well. But nobody tells that, hey, I am a failure, man. Yep. So that is we are looking for guests to share their failure stories, because these failed stories are really a great teacher. Yep. They can actually show about the caveats. So our next session, we'll be talking about the caveats for the entrepreneurs, the what you should do every day. In all the previous sessions, we're talking about what you can do or what you should do. In that session, they'll be sharing about what are the caveats or what you shouldn't do as an entrepreneur. Sure. So that's really great. And I think learning should continue. And moving to Stephen, I'm actually showcasing your Salesforce Catalyst as well. So sharing your screen, can you just briefly say something about your Salesforce Catalyst?
Well, Salesforce is a platform that created after 10 years, of hard life shifts. You were talking about failures there. I mean, I failed a lot of times, right? 3 days ago, I said, and I was counting actually the amount of, things that I've tried. I think I've started maybe like 29 businesses in total that have failed, right? But that has given me a tenacity, the resistance to come back again and try again. So this Salesforce basically is a platform that are created, to share about leadership, to motivate people, to give them new insight, right? And to, tackle things like transformational leadership in the organization or in the life of individuals, right? So, yeah, that's basically, the summary of Salesforce Catalyst.
Oh, that's very good. So that is a part of inspiration. Susan, do you have something to share? You can share your screen as well if you like.
I don't, but I would like to just say that we've touched on a couple of key things, but I would add to the word vision and say to all the young people listening, dare to dream big. And as Steph said, ignite every cell in your body and go and absolutely go with that passion and see it done. Have that faith, belief, certainty to actually see it done. We saw the people of the entire country of Belize rejoicing because of the oil discovery, the gift from God, before we'd even brought the drilling rig into the country. So dare to dream big and see it done and totally believe in yourself and be around people who are believing in you. And I'd say that's a common theme amongst all of us as a message.
Yeah, that's very good. That's very inspiring. So we're at the end of our program. Thanks for your insightful session. It's really very good and very great to see that all of you are actually trying to think out of the box. This is not a box that is made from paper. It is the box that is our head, and that is very much needed for every sector. Everyone has that capability. Just try to explore yourself. Stand in front of the mirror. Ask yourself, what Rafi, what Mark, what Stephanie, what Susan, what Steven sees in me. There might be something interesting in me, and whatever it is, just try to explore. So just one sentence that you want to share for our audience, starting from Susan again. Just one sentence.
I'm open to being contacted by anyone and everyone because my life is about sharing these steps.
Wow, that is very good sentence. Then going to Stephanie Ullard. One sentence to inspire people.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Like, feel free to reach out to any of us because that's exactly what I was going to say. I am happy to speak to absolutely anybody who wants to talk more or share more. So feel free to reach out, anybody.
And Stephanie, to you as well, said, if you come to Nepal next time, Nepal is just 30 minutes flight distance from Dhaka, from my city. I can even walk. Maybe I need just 5 days to Kathmandu. So next time, don't forget to visit us as well in Dhaka. And Mark is coming maybe once the flight is open. So Mark, one sentence advice.
Yeah, just get started. Take that first step because you never know what's going to happen.
That's really very inspiring. Take started because you have to start. If you don't start, if you just wait, nobody will be waiting. Nobody will be actually waiting for you. Nobody will be giving you a chance. Just try to explore yourself and try to start. Just full step. Then Stephen.
Well, I would say that I just love this quote from the Bible, which says that be transformed by the renewal of your mind. Remember, you too can be great, and I'll see you whenever you contact me.
Lovely.
That's very good. See how positive our guests are. So to the audience who are actually watching, just try to find them in social media and try to learn from them. And thanks for watching. So welcome to Bangladesh as well. In your next visit, whenever COVID-19 actually disappears, maybe in 21. So COVID-19 disappears in COVID, say after 21. So feel free to visit Dhaka. We are very hospitable as a nation. And Mark can say that every time we try to we love food. We are very foodie nation. So our food is very yummy, tasty as well. Visit Bangladesh and let's actually let's extend our hand, or let's actually work together. That is the main thing that I want to tell. So thank you very much. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Ra. Appreciate it.